So hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about the how to utilize the power of database and so that you can utilize it for our Android application. And typically we are interested to talk about SQLITE. It's a kind of the lightest version of SQL so that it can run on resource constrained devices like that of the smartphones. So that's something that we need to cover today. So yeah, so from its name, you can simply understand that it's something that is made for resource constrained devices. Why we can simply say SQLite is an embedded relational database management system software. So it's you can simply run on your mobile device. So that's the core point. And again, it's like other relational database management system is compliant with the concept of ACID property. So it will ensure that the transaction is compliant with that of the ACID property, authenticity, and again, durability and other properties needs to be ensured. And you can simply take a look at the size. It only occupies 57 kilobytes of data, so it's much uh, resource efficient. And of course, it is not a client server architecture because you can utilize it only for the if the data that you store using SQLite is only stored on a specific machine, so it will not support client server. So that's one of the drawback, because if you want to support the client server property, you need a server, real server, and you can directly communicate with that. But you can directly do similar things that you can do with the normal SQLite using like insert statement, update, delete, search, and all those things can go straightforward as you do for that of the normal SQLite software. Okay, so yeah, the minor difference are there. Just integer means integer. In this case, if you define one of the column or attribute as integer, it's going to utilize from 1 to 8 bytes, and you can also define real to store floating number value. And if it is alphanumeric, you can utilize variable character as a data type. Yeah, of course, in normal SQL, you need to specify the length of the variable character, but in the case of SQLite, you don't need to define that, and we'll get back to that in a few minutes. So to get the power of SQLite in your Android application, you need to import this library, android.database.sqlite. That's enough. And once you import that, you are privileged to create a database, create a table, insert and manipulate any data that's inserted into SQLite. Okay. So, but we usually use the same command for creating the table, inserting the data, or retrieving the content of the data from the database. Almost, it is similar to the one that you know in SQLite or Oracle database. So, with some minor exceptions are there. But before I dive to talking about the command that we need to use to create a SQLite in Android application, maybe I wanted to refresh you to the concept that you already learned in your bachelor class, how to use relational database management system, and then I will get back to this one later on. So yeah, of course you are very familiar with this one. If you ever build a web server application, you either need to install either XAMPP or WAMP server on your local machine, and then in your PHP admin you will get the list of database. And now I'm going to create simple database. This maybe you can, like, I'm going to give some, let's say, student DB here, student database. So then create, and then I can open this one, student DB, and inside it I'm going to write some sort of query, SQL statement. So I'm going to create student table, maybe like this. So the typical command that we use here is create student, or you can simply say create table. Then you need to give a table name. So let's call it student. And then inside a bracket, you need to specify the column name. Yes, the column name, let's say student ID or ID. And next to that, you need to define the size. Okay. So you may say varchar and then you need to specify its size. What is the length of the student ID? They say it's 10. Then I may be interested on student first name, SFNA, or I can simply say FNA. Then I need to specify the length. Let's use 20 for this one, and I need to do the same thing for last name, and I need to define its size. Last name, variable character, let's call 20. Now you can close the bracket, and after I put semicolon, I can directly execute this one. And then after execution, I will have a table named student under my student database. So let's check that. So you see, now if we expand the student DB, we have a student table here, yes? So what's next? Once we have a table, now we can insert some value to this table, yes? So we can write a query like to insert the data. We can simply type insert, and I need to specify to which table I'm going to insert the data, because in a given database, we may have multiple tables. So I need to specify that. Then here I already mentioned it, insert into, then I need to specify the values, okay? Values, so I'm going to insert a value like we need to place inside the bracket for student ID. I may say S01, comma, and for the second attribute in our table is student first name. I say Ahmed, and the last name I'm going to specify it here. Let me call it Khalid. Okay, then I put semicolon at the end. So let's check this one. Go. So now say one row is affected. How do we check this one? So now we insert the value using insert statement, yes, like this. Let me copy this one and add more values. So I'm going to edit this one. So I'm going to change student ID to 2. Let's have some names here. Let me say Abdulkadir Ahmed. And let's execute this query. Do the same thing again. I wanted to add one more. Let me call it Zahra Thomas. Go. Now we have three values. Yes. So one of the command that we use is insert statement. We have already seen that. So now the next step is getting the value from the database. So for this purpose, we use a select statement. So we type select, then star means all, from, then we need to specify the table name. In our case, the table name is student. So you can put semicolon here and execute. And now we can get all the three values, yes, because we use asterisk. That means we want to fetch all the data without any condition. So anything that was previously inserted to the student table will show up after we execute this query. So we have this, and sometimes it's also possible to limit the value, so we can edit. If you want to impose some constraints on the generated result, we may type where let me say ID SID is not equal to the first one. I remember I call it S001 like this. So the first the student with the ID S001 will be not shown if you execute this one. You see, only S002, S003 is shown up. Yes. So in this way, we can impose some sort of constraint on the generated result. And if you want to show only S0001, you can remove exclamation mark here and you can make it equality symbol and you can hit go. Oh, something is wrong. I need to use this one. Yeah, you see now we have Ahmed Khalid with the ID S01 as the output. Yes. So you can use these concepts and you can use and or something like that. Now let's say we wanted to change the first name of Ahmed, like as you can see it here, the A is written in lowercase letter. We wanted to make it capital A. We wanted to update because it is a name, yes. So I'm going to update this one. So in this case, I'm going to use update statement because I'm going to change it, yes. I can simply say updates, then I can specify the table name, then you can use set keyword, set f name, to capital, what is the name? I forget it. Let me cut this one and check the name again. Ahmed, yes. So I'm going to edit this one. Edit Ahmed. So Ahmed, where I need to specify the ID, where SID is equal to that of Ahmed. That is S001. Okay. So now it's going to make some changes over here. Go. So let's use select statement and check if the value of S001 is changed to Ahmed like this. So I'm going to type select all from students to semicolon here. Go. So you see now the first letter of the first student is changed to capital A, which says Ahmed. So to make some changes to the already existing data, you can simply use update statement. So in doing that, you need to specify set. After set statement, you need to specify what you are going to change. And again, next to that, you need to use the where clause. Otherwise, all the names are going to be changed to Khalid. For example, let's do that. I want to change all the first name to Ahmed. So I can simply type update student set if name is equal to Ahmed. If we don't write where statement here, all the first column of all the employees or students that we have is automatically going to be changed to Ahmed. So this is not recommended actually. Yeah, so that says what? Unknown column if name. Yeah, some errors are there. Yeah, I need to add E here. Go. Where is the go? You see, it's like kind of deleting the file because we are using update or without using where clause. It is asking us, are we sure to do that? Do you want to really execute update student? Because it's going to update all the data in our entire table. So now let's take a look at the effect. So I'm going to write select all from student. Then you see all the first names are changed into Ahmed. And now let's use another command that's called delete. We wanted to delete some column. Let's say I wanted to delete student with S002. Delete student where SID is equal to S001. That means I'm going to delete the first student. Okay. Let's check the effect. Delete student where something is wrong, unexpected keyword where. Delete all from student where student ID is equal to, yeah, I need to add this. Something is you have an error. SID. Something is wrong. Let me check student where SID. I don't know what's wrong with this code. Yeah, we can Google it actually. Let me check this. Delete command SQL, MySQL. can simply say it like this. Yes, correct. Delete from product where product ID is equal to. So nothing is wrong with me except the strict symbol here. Let me check that again. Yeah, okay, now it's working. So this means that the first student is deleted from our database. So let's check that. Yeah, so using select statement now, we have only two columns, two rows of data. Yes, like this. So that's something we want to accomplish. So we are going to write similar code for the create, insert, delete, and update statement. So at the end, we are going to implement something that looks like this. So here we do have one app which will allow us to register the student. When we click on insert, it will add this information to our SQL database. For example, it's called the student RR09, and let's give a name Thomas. Me call him Thomas Abdullah, like this. I'm going to delete this one. Then if I click on insert one, and it will insert to the database that we already created. Let me check that insert. You see inserted successfully. Now let's search one of the students that we have here, R11. I previously inserted that. Let's check. So if this ID is found, it will automatically populate the username, the student first name, and the student last name. Let's check that. So R11. You see now it says Khalifa Ali. And now the recent one that we add, R09, it is Thomas Abdullah. So in this way we can insert, create, delete, and update. So this is something that we are going to implement in a while. And I'm going to demonstrate that step by step in our next video. But just to give you a bird's eye view of that concept, let's take a look at the overall concept. So in order to utilize the power of SQLITE, first you need to import a SQLITE database, and then you need to globally declare an instance of SQLITE like this, SQLITE database, my database. Then inside on create function, you need to create your database. So this is a keyword that you may use, open or create database. So this is actually similar to that of the shared preference concept. So first, this function will check if a database named MySQLite database is already existing or not. If it exists, actually, it will open it. If it is new, it will automatically create it for you. So just you need to pass the name of the database like this. And then the next step is once you have a database, you need to create a table. Yes. So you can use similar code that we used previously. You need to use the create table command. Actually, I miss E here, so that's a typo. Create table, and you need to provide the table name, and then you need to give a column name. If it is the ID, you may say ID, and you need to specify if it is a primary key, something like this one, or you can say first name text. So if it is a text, that means you don't need to impose some constraint related to the length of the data that we are going to use. And finally, you need to execute this SQL. Like it's similar to like clicking go button from the PHP my admin interface. Okay, so you need to execute, and as a parameter, you need to pass SQL statements that you have. Or you can exactly write this statement here. So you do have two options, but your code will be more readable if you separate it like this. Okay, so this is technically, it looks like this. So you defined a SQL database like this. You need to define those editable text, because one is for the ID, one is for the first name, and the others for the middle name. And you need to link your editable text with the Java code by using find view by ID like this. Once you did that, you need to define your database name here. It says student DB, and then you need to execute this command. Unless you execute it, this will not work. So create table, if not exists, you need to use this one, this concept, and give you a table name, and then column name, column data type, and you can keep going like this. And then for each button that we are going to implement, you need to write separate code, because at the beginning you need to define the on-click property in your XML file, and then db.execute SQL. For the insert purpose, you need to simply say insert into table name values from where you are going to get those values, because in our case we are going to get from those editable text. You need to mention those. And after insertion, you may toast some text to the screen so that the user will be announced about the success of the transaction. So, oh, inserted successfully. In the case of the error, you may say, oh, something is wrong, network failure. You can catch those kind of exception, and you can show it to the user. The same thing solved for the delete command, delete from student, where roll number is equal to something like this one. You need to write the code again for the update like this. And for the search purpose, actually, you don't need to execute the SQL, because you need to do the query. Yes, you're just fetching it there. So the command that you are going to execute is different from the one that we did for insert, delete, and update. Because in this case, just the thing is you want to read some data from the database, so you need to say row query. And the query that's going to be returned to as a response, maybe multiple rows, because if you select all from student, you will get numerous rows. So you need to store those in a cursor, the second of array, and then you can traverse that array to filter out the response generated by the row query, and you can display on the user interface. And again, we have also another button. So I'm going to implement this one in our next video. And this is the overall concept of using SQLite, and practically you can implement it in our next video. And I hope you can easily understand this one. And if you have any question, you can write it as a comment, and see you next time.